terms of political participation, there is participation where you have the numbers. You have the numbers to vote and pass your decision. But then there is also the quality of participation. So you have the numbers, and then you have the quality of participation. I kept saying, let us postpone that question of how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? Isn't it? If there is a tendency, because of actually culture, to prefer the participation of elderly, the participation of women is put aside, and the participation of men is preferred. How can I help? You ask yourself that question. How can I help? That is the conversation we are going to do now. How can I help? How can I help? Now, to make sure that everybody talks, we are going to start from behind there, and we are going to go like this, like this, like this. Then we are going to come back like this, like this, like this. And then we are going to go like this, like this, like this. We have found out the facts. We have understood why so a little bit. We will continue having this conversation for the whole week. But now, quickly, how can I help?
I think the men need to be trained on how to learn how to coexist with empowered women. It's not that we are not empowered. We are actually empowered, but they're not giving us chances.
So how are you going to train them to coexist?
These leadership, let's say, conferences, they need to be engaged.
But we are in a leadership conference right now. And the men are here.
Let them be talked to.
By you.
If the problem is financial empowerment, incapacity to these women, as that's the reason as to why they are not coming up in leadership. How I can help at my personal level is to engage and involve other stakeholders who look into empowering women, so that I will actually go and talk to them and brief them on what they need to do so that women are empowered, capacitated, so that they can also come in leadership effectively.
First of all, when we look at, when we go deeper and look at men empowerment, minimal effort is being put, because the majority takes their effort in supporting women. Yet these people are all at the same level now. And for us to have an equitable society where respect is accorded to everyone, I think the men also need to be empowered. Now, when you look at why we even have a lot of issues on sexual gender-based violence, because women have their groups and they don't involve men, and now there are things that are discussed there and men even don't know, so it also have issues of conflict between men and women. Okay. So I think that involvement should be at equilibrium.
Personally,
yes,
I'll go back to my institution and spread the gospel that we must all participate equally the same, because we are able to deliver the same.
We usually speak about such things, but usually it is said that you can take an animal at the well, but you will not force it to take the water. So however much we continue speaking, it is not one man's responsibility. It is the responsibility of civil society organizations, the government, and so on and so forth. But as one of the person has presented, schools would be a very good avenue for such. Primary schools at all levels.
When you talk about advocacy, advocacy without empowerment is nothing. However much you talk to someone like what, and you advise, you give a good advice to someone might be having ambition, but if you do not empower that person will not achieve what you have advocated to that person. Now, my suggestion is, there are so many stakeholders. If they join hands together, I alone, I cannot do that thing.
There is too much fear among women, which is really bringing them down into the political system. And yet, in actual sense, you find like a lady who is in politics is even much better than a man in performance. So ladies should be encouraged and given that opportunity.
How are you going to encourage them?
Yes, first of all, by telling them that they themselves can perform better than the men.
Okay.
And then secondly, if you to see like the background, men join politics earlier than what? Than the ladies. So most ladies, when they see any opportunity, maybe you talk about the constituencies, they'll see like, in my constituency, you find like maybe for the past 20 years, it has always been run by a man. So ladies find it hard to go and compete with that man or like with a man who has already been in the system before.
How you can help me or how I can help the young ladies who are in politics is by I'll use the female youth affairs representatives because they are all in the parishes. I would gather them and we move parish by parish and we gather women who have interest in politics. Okay. We tell them that you can also stand in the directed elected position. It's not only for the men. And after that, the next phase, we shall bring even their partners to tell them that what a man can do, a woman can do. I will use the female youth affairs to sensitize about women political position. Thank you.
It begins with me. Why do I say this? When I entered Gulu University, after the week of orientation, 7 days after, people already began telling me, how do you see if you're our class coordinator? Why? Because they already saw something in me, but men were there. So it begins with me before you go to other people. Now, when I contested to represent the Faculty of Education in the GRC race, we competed with men. And they take 4 always. So out of the 6, we managed to beat 2 ladies. 4 men contested and 2 ladies contested. So if I could beat the other 2 men, I believe it begins with me. Because you may say, let us empower the women. But you yourself, you are in the position and you are not giving what really took you there. You can't influence others. And even after there, I wanted to resign. I wanted to now serve the faculty and then resign from being class coordinator. Everyone was like, no, we can't do this. At least let there be an assistant to do this. So ladies, and as youth, as you're living in society, let it not be an advocacy when you yourself, people see really you're lacking something. And then in my profession of being a teacher, after 1 year from now, I'll be out. So as teachers, we encounter different people, different stakeholders, the parents, board of governors, and then the students. So as a teacher, very many eyes are on you. You also come from a society that they are looking upon you. So in your various professions, can you inspire someone to emulate what you're doing? And then that's how we can cause change, I believe.